Hello my friends, Paul here in the RoJoBe Music Workshop, and welcome to part 10 of the handmade bass guitar project. Okay, so in the previous episode I had installed all of the electrics and basically put the body together, so put all the controls and the fretboard, not fretboard, the pick guard and all the other bits and pieces of hardware. So the next stage was to put the neck on and the strings, which I did off camera. This is a little while ago actually now. And the next stage and or video, this one, was to be doing the setup. Well, once I got the thing together, and incidentally, here it is. Looks a little bit like a bass guitar now. So it's all together, got the neck on, got all the strings on. I've also installed a string tree right about there. So as far as building it, it's complete. So what I sometimes do, and I did with this one, is before I start making the video for the setup, I just, check it off camera to see where I'm at and, what I'll need to do so that I'm prepared to make the video, so that I'm not, faffing about and making mistakes and all sorts of things. So I was having a look at this guitar and I came across a few issues. So first of all, I noticed that the pickups were working only intermittently. So I realised obviously there was a wiring problem. So I removed the control panel. I took the control panel out, and I saw that the two wires, the hot wires for the pickups on the switch, were not connected that well. So I basically desoldered those wires, took them off, fluxed them and tinned them and the connections on the switch as well, and re-soldered the wires. That solved that issue. So it was pointless going forward much more until I'd sorted that problem out. And it was a pretty easy fix, just basically resoldering two wires for the pickups, and that solved that issue. So I put the control panel back in, and when I checked the string action, it was like 40 yards. It was ridiculous. So I started to bring it down a bit to get somewhere in the ballpark, and then I noticed another issue. So with the two pickups here and here, once I started to lower the strings, I realised that the strings were getting very close to this pickup. I mean, really close, and I was nowhere near the proper string action. So these plastic surrounds, I've got several of them, and normally the bridge one is a thicker one, so the pickup is higher, and that's what I had on there. But as I said, the strings, as they were coming down, when I lowered the saddles, it was coming into contact with that pickup. So I haven't got it with me right now, but what I did was I removed this pickup, removed this surround, and put the lower one on there, so it's the same as the neck pickup. As I said, normally these ones are higher, but it was too high and the strings were coming into contact with it. So I changed the plastic surround for the lower one so that I could get the pickup lower. That solved that issue. So then, I brought the strings down a little bit more on the saddles. Again, nowhere near the proper string action. And then I checked the strings with all the frets, and I was getting quite a lot of buzzing on most of the strings, on most of the way up the fretboard. So, and I was still nowhere near proper string action. So what I had to do was slacken the truss rod off a bit to put a little bit of underbow in the neck, or relief as some people call it. And that seemed to eradicate the buzzing. So yeah, I came across a few issues. You know, I had an electrical issue, so I had to resolder the wires. The bridge pickup was too high, so I had to change the surround to lower that down. I was getting buzzing most of the way up the fretboard on the strings, so I had to put some relief or underbow in the neck by loosening the truss rod off a bit, and that seemed again to solve the problem. So what I'm going to do now is continue with the setup. It's more or less there, but not quite. So I'm going to fiddle around a bit with the setup. I also did, you know, as well as possible, balance the pickups, but I might still need to adjust that a bit as well. But that's probably not going to be in this video. Let me just zoom in a little bit. Okay. So let me first just check it's kind of in tune. You see that? I think you can. Okay, so I think I'm gonna have to plug the plug it into the amp so that my phone app can pick up the tuning. Turn the volume right down. Come on, pick it up. Just put it there so it picks up the vibrations. Okay, that's more or less in tune. So before I check intonation, I want to just check string height. So I like to aim personally myself for about 2 to 2.5 millimeters. That's about 2.25 on the first string, about the same on the second. Okay, so the first 3 strings are great. The 4th string is really high. That's it's almost 3 millimeters. That's a bit too high. So let me just take the 4th string, the E string, down a bit. I seem to remember, as I said, it was a week or 2 ago. I did this, you know, initial part of the setup. And I think I found that the E string was still buzzing, so I had to raise that a bit, but let me just try it first. Just get it down a bit. So we're now at Still about 2.6. Let me just try that for buzzing first. That's fine, so I can still go down a bit more. Right, let's check that. And we've got still about 2.3 mil. Let me just try and take it down a little bit more. Like I said, it might well buzz and I will have to raise it up again, but we'll see. Pretty sure that's why it was so high, because I had to raise it up to eliminate the buzzing. Right, that's about 2.2 mil. Yeah, it's going to have to come up. Not quite sure what's that buzzing on. No, it's actually on the pickup. So can I drop that down a bit maybe? Let's see if I can drop that pickup down a bit. Yeah, it's still buzzing. Okay, that's fine. So I'll just raise that string back up a bit. Just do a little bit at a time until the buzzing goes away. Okay, let's check where we're at there. It's under 2.5 mil, so I'm pretty happy with that. Just check the other strings again. Just over 2. That's kind of high actually. Let's see if I can drop that one down a bit, the first string. But the rest of them are sort of, 2 to 2.5 mil, which I'm pretty happy with. Right, what we got there now? Yeah, that's about right. Yeah, that's not buzzing, that's my amplifier. My amp's not very good. It's just a cheap one. That's not buzzing, that's my amplifier. Okay, so string action seems to be about right. I might need to tweak it a little bit more, but it's pretty much there. Okay, so let me now check intonation. See, that's gone flat now. Yeah, that's pretty good, yeah. Wow. Yep, hang on. Yeah, again, that's my amplifier. That. Okay, so I'd obviously done a fair bit of the adjustment already. So we've got good tuning, we've got good neck, bow, we've got fairly good string action, maybe a tad high, but I don't think it's going to be a problem. I think it's in the ballpark, and the intonation is good. Pickup balance, let me just check that. So you should get more or less the same volume from both pickups, plucking the string at about the same hardness. So bridge pickup, that seems pretty good. It does seem that on the 3rd and 4th string, the E and the A string, we're getting more volume on the neck pickup than the bridge. I don't know, maybe. Okay, it is slightly different, but I'm okay with that. Actually, that is really close. That's pretty good. Personally, I prefer the neck pickup anyway, but putting it back to the middle, okay, well, yeah, it seems to be set up just about right. Zoom out, nothing. Okay, so, right, so the guitar is finished. It's built, it's put together. The setup is, I would say, 95+%. I might need to do a little bit of tweaking here and there, but this bass guitar is now finished. Like I said, just apart from a little bit of tweaking here and there on the setup, but the setup is 95%. Now, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to end this video here, and I'm going to go away and practice playing the thing. just a few basic riffs. You know, please bear in mind I am no bassist, and you know, this obviously has a much longer neck than anything else that I play. I usually play ukuleles and smaller instruments. So, you know, this neck is going to take some getting used to, because mostly because of the, you know, the spacing between the frets, particularly at this end. You know, the frets are much more spaced out than, you know, things that I'm used to playing. So I've got to get used to it. So I'm going to go away, practice a few simple basic riffs, play around with settings a little bit on my amplifier. Like I said, my amp is not very good. It will tend to, you know, sort of buzz out in some frequencies and, you know, be very quiet in other frequencies. So it's not a good amplifier. There's nothing wrong with the guitar at all. Okay, some of the components are, you know, they're not expensive, but everything works exactly as it should do. It's just the amplifier which is not very good. But like I said, I'm going to go and practice a few riffs. I've got a few, you know, I've got them written down, and some of them, you know, favour the bass strings, and some of them favour the treble strings. So I'm going to get a little bit of a feel of, you know, its range and what it can do, and what it probably could do if I had a much better amplifier. And I will get one. I will get a good one. But I don't need it right now. So I'm going to do a bit of practice. Like I said, play around with some of the settings and see if I can get it to make bass guitar type sounds. And if and when I do, I will make one final video which will basically be a sound demo. And I know that some of you are looking forward to hearing what it sounds like. Me too. So, going to do a bit of practice, and then I'll come back and make a sound demo video for the finale. In the meantime, please look after yourselves, look after each other. We will see you soon. Peace out.